What's up guys, Tiki here from ProNDC. Welcome to another ESO build video. So in today's video I have something a little bit different for you. I have the build for an off-heal support setup for the Magicka Nightblade, the spell power cure blade basically. So what we do here is we make use of the set spell power cure, which this one you can get it in white gold tower. This is very efficient on the Magicka Nightblade because we have quite some skills that heal others, and we can get a good uptime on ourselves and also on other players. And depending on what content you play, you might want to have one player with this setup in your group. So what I'm about to show you is for Asylum Sanctorium. I run this since the last raid day. I'm surprised that I didn't really lose damage. It was really cool. So spell power cure gives us magic and magic spell damage, and when we heal a friendly target that is at 100% health, we have 50% chance to increase the weapon spell damage by 252 for 10 seconds. So yeah, just to show you like what skills can actually heal. So we have funnel health here, heals us and an ally for 10 seconds. Every 2 seconds we have siphoning attacks that heals us, and we have twisting path. Like twisting path doesn't heal, but the other morph heals. So in Asylum Sanctorium the people are not really stacked up together, they're really split. So we do not have a lot of people standing in the path. Refreshing path will heal every second, and the only ally that we actually hit with that is most probably the off tank. Maybe one or two others, but we lose more damage, like compared to like getting damage. If you compare twisting path with refreshing path. So what we want to do is go with twisting path for Asylum Sanctorium, and for other content just go with the refreshing path, because you can stand behind your group or like in your group, use refreshing path, and it will hit the group. Especially like if you go to raids like Ethereal Archive here, like if you want to get a top score, what you want to do is like have 10 DDs, 1 tank, 1 healer, and spell power cure can only hit up to 6 people at the same time. So you want two in your group running spell power cure. And because of that, we have one Magicka Nightblade in the group that runs spell power cure. So for Archive, we have the main tank basically running his regular tank setup, and then we have the off tank running as a DD for the first 3 bosses, switching to a tankier setup for the final boss. So yeah, 1 healer, because that's enough. It's a little bit risky, but it's enough for Ethereal Archive, and then 1 spell power cure Nightblade to get decent spell power cure uptimes on the people. Yeah, so basically that's what you want to run for AA for top scores, and you just like run a little bit like a slightly changed version of this build for AA. What I'm about to show you is for Asylum Sanctorium, so let's like give you a better overview of the gear. We'll just quickly show it. So I have 3 spell power cure jewelry pieces with spell damage enchanted, and then I have 2 body pieces in divines, all Magicka enchanted of course. Then we run Julianos. So of course you have the option of actually like dropping Julianos and going with spell power cure instead, and then just run a 2-piece monster set and Moon Dancer, but I do not really recommend, because monster sets aren't as strong as they used to be, and you drop almost 8% crit if you drop Julianos. Like, you do not want to actually do that. So I think this setup is a little bit better. I have 1 Vulcan Scoria for health, because we run the Clockwork Citrus Fillet, which gives us 3.7k health, 3.4k Magicka, and Magicka recovery, so we have more recovery. But if we, will just show it to you, if we go for example with Growthstar, we drop down to 16.4k health, but only 15.9k on the back bar, because we do not have a shadow ability on the back bar. So that's not enough. We want HP, so we have Vulcan Scoria, and we have 4 points into health to reach the 18k for Asylum Sanctorium. Because the thing is, Lothus does this poison AoE cone, and if there's minor maim on him, and you sit at more than 19k HP, you will survive the first blow even if you do not block it at the edge. If you're standing at the center, you'll probably still die. I'm not entirely sure like how the damage is calculated, but if you're at the edge, you will still survive that, and that will prevent you from dying. And dying less in that trial will give you more overall DPS, because if people have to rest all the time, that's kind of an issue, and that's where you lose most damage. So yeah, that's why 4 points into health. If you run AA, you can run all into Magicka, and instead of running the very expensive Clockwork Citrus Fillet, you can just run usual max health, max magic food. And instead of running with Velka Scoria, you can just run Molokina for weapon and spell damage, and you're good to go. So we have one heavy piece, one medium piece. Of course, legs in medium would be better for more resistances, of course, but it's like such a small difference, we don't really care. And we have Juliano's staff on the front bar. The reason for that is pretty simple. Spell proc here, because like your funnel health is damage is healing over time. It can only proc if you have 5 pieces active, so we want 5 pieces on active all the time. And that's why we just dropped this 300 spell damage of Juliano's. If spell cure procs on the back bar, you will like almost compensate the lack of spell damage. Is like, yeah, 47 spell damage difference. It's really, really small. But also we don't really have any skill that actually like keeps the spell damage. So the thing is, AoE abilities like the blockade, twisting path, fire rage, they update they update to the stats like that of the bar that you're currently on. The only skills that do not update are single target skills, or single target damage over time effects like crippling grasp. Poison injection used to be one of those skills, but poison injection got updated. They changed it, so like it now updates. It's like the yeah, the only exception for single target damage over time effects. The other ones just like take the value of spell damage from the bar that you're currently you casted it on. Or that's actually not quite right. They take the values from the bar where you hit the enemy with a skill. So basically, if I cast this into bar swap before it hits the enemy, it will update to the front bar. So if you time it perfectly with crippling grasp, you should still get the full benefit. So yeah, Juliano's Inferno Staff infused with the shock damage glyph, and I currently have a Maelstrom Inferno Staff infused with the spell damage glyph. If you run AA, you do not want that. Probably you just have 3 Magicka people in the group, or Magicka DDs, so you want a Lightning Staff of the Maelstrom Arena and infused, so you just replace the Inferno Staff with the Lightning Staff. In VAS, we have only Magicka DDs, so we don't really need a lightning, like a blockade of storms, or that many. The few that we have are enough to set the enemy off balance, and he's protected most of the time anyway, or like not most of the time, but he's protected quite a bit anyway. So off balance will be between like 50 to maybe 60%. I'm not entirely sure, like around that. If everything, yeah, in the fight is optimal. But anyway, this is the setup. Pretty standard setup and pretty easy to get. You can craft this one. You can get this in City of Ash. You can of course also get other monster set pieces that give you health, and it's up to you. Maybe even don't even need it. Can just go with Molokina. So for skills, pretty simple. We have funnel health here, heals us and an ally. We have Merciless Resolve for the minor berserk, and we try to shoot 3 spectral blows as often as possible. If you want to see the rotation, just go to the Magicka Nightblade build video that I posted for this patch already. Then we have Twisting Path here. Like I said, remorph it to Refreshing if you go, if you do any content outside of Silence Tutorial hard mode. Then we have Impale as our Execute, Inner Light, Fiery Rage as our AoE ultimate, Soul Harvest as the Execute ultimate to boost the Impales at the end. It's really cheap. Harness Magic as a shield, Inner Light because we have enough space for it, Siphoning Attacks, Crippling Grasp, and Blockade of Fire or Blockade of Storms depending on what staff you actually use. For the champion points, this is currently spec'd for Silent Centaurium, so we start with the green tree. We have 2 into Sprinter. You might actually want to have some more points here in Sprinter. You can take some points out of tumbling. Like, I think I got my movement down to like having to dodge only like 3, maximum 4 times per run. So you can take some points out here and actually put more points into Sprinter or split it up. Because you don't just sprint at the start. Sometimes you have to move into the middle to attack protectors at the entrance or exit side, and then Storm the Heaven comes, and you have to quickly go back to your position so you can kite in that area and not take too much damage. So some more points to Sprinter are not that bad. Then we have 56 into Arcanist, 76 into Tenacity, 44 Tumbling, 52 Shadowboard for the red tree. 81 into Ironclad, 61 to Spell Shield, and 56 L Defender. The reason we don't have any points into Hardy is, even though Lothis does like this poison cone and people think it's poison damage, the actual damage type is magic damage. That's what a lot of people don't really know, or like they didn't know that yeah, that it's not actually poison damage. So we can take the points out of Thick Skinned and Hardy. Because the damage over time of the fire at the end is also really weak. You can purge it and you can out heal it, or just shield. You don't need points in the Thick Skin. And then I have just 32 into Quick Recovery because I heal myself a lot and just yeah, get some more healing on me. That's pretty much it. So that's the setup. Pretty simple. And if you do not have access to like Triads gear like Moon Dancer here, Infall Beather, Master Architect, like to run the set that I showed you for the regular build video with the monster set, Julianos and then Moon Dancer, for example, you can just go and farm Spell Procure and the White Gold Tower and run this setup for dungeons. Like if you say like I do not want to run trials, but I want to have a setup that does good damage and also like supports my group a little bit, you can just run this setup because it doesn't require trials gear. Instead of running a Maelstrom staff, you can just go with 2 Juliano staves and then you're good to go. Like, yeah, that's what you could do. Anyway guys, I hope you liked the video. Make sure to check out the Nightblade video that I already posted, the full DPS version. And there should be a link in the video description. So if you liked the video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. And if you do not want to miss any more ESO content, just hit the sub button, would be really nice. And I hope you also tune in next time. So hope to see you there. Until then, bye bye.